I mean, is a netbook on anyone's Christmas list? I mean, that's my barometer. Like, who wants one for Christmas? Well, or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. No one in my family.
Kwanzaa netbook for me. Anybody else? No?
I'll declare the netbook dead just as soon as I sell my current one. Someone buy it.
All right. We mentioned chips in the netbooks versus tablets. We've got Sandy Bridge. We've got Fusion. I think Fusion looks kind of hot. AMD's got some potential there. Which one do you think will win out in the graphics and CPU, 2 cores, 2 great tastes that taste great together? It's kind of like the McDLT of chips for 2011. Who wins? Intel, AMD?
Well, Intel always wins. I mean, why would they not win this time?
Come on, Opteron, not always.
It's a temporary phenomenon.
Except
Intel wins. AMD survives because Intel doesn't want to have to deal with the ramifications of having a monopoly. Intel beats AMD. Sorry if anybody's from AMD.
I don't know if I necessarily agree. I mean, Intel does win mostly, but AMD sold off all its factories in 2008, and it doesn't have to worry about filling those factories anymore, and it can really concentrate on the marketing and selling. They just have to be a lot more consistent.
But let me just say one other thing, which comes back to something we were saying before, which is okay, I shouldn't look at that. So I think you're right. I think you're right, John, that it's Qualcomm and ARM that Intel has to worry about now, not AMD.
Right.
I mean, that's the real enemy, because the more that people adopt mobile phones, tablets, other non-PC devices as their main means of computing, the bigger a problem it is for Intel. And I think that's the real issue for Intel in 2011, not AMD.
Let's see what the Romulans have to say. No, they're not. Quentin, were you? I think I saw you having an opinion over there.
No, I was looking at the NVIDIA table. They were waving their sign.
Nice job.
Settlement or no settlement? Is that going to be 2010 or 2011? Anybody else? What do you think? Any leftover chip thoughts? No, nobody wants to touch that?
Well, I was going to say it's moving slightly away from the AMD versus Intel battle. You have, obviously you mentioned Qualcomm, but you have now it's the mobile chip manufacturers. There's a certain one in London that is doing very well thanks to this other certain company out of Cupertino, although that company also has its own chipset,
I would say that in tech, people make this mistake of saying the word commodity in really dismissive ways. It's a commodity now, it's no good. Like, the biggest businesses in the world are commodity businesses, okay? Like Exxon's a commodity business, Cargill's a commodity business, Coca-Cola's a commodity business. I'd argue Google's a commodity business. They all extract and refine and distribute more efficiently than anybody else, whatever their product set. And essentially, people are still putting a hell of a lot of x86 chips into data centers and will be for as far as we can see out there, and that gives Intel this huge base of cash and cash flow with which they can do many, many things. Nobody else has that advantage.
Are you predicting something?
I think they have a strong base, is all I'm saying. They can. We were saying they're doomed.
And based on that, you predict what?
Hey, NVIDIA table. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't count them out with Eric.
Never count Intel out. That ranks right up there with nobody puts baby in the corner.
Dude.
Right? I think so. Dancing with the Stars just proved that all over again. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, well, Dottie Perlmutter, the Intel guy, at IDF told me that Intel will absolutely have a smartphone chip in 2011. Paul Jacobs just recently told me, we're not looking at 2011 as being the year that Intel blows it out in smartphones. What do you guys think? Who's right? Will Intel really make it big in smartphones in 2011?
They should. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Sounds like a no. Who else?
Well, it's where this is what I was saying. It's the challenge for Intel is to become a competitive player in a market where they're behind. And so do they catch up in 2011? They get closer. I don't know I don't have a prediction in terms of market share, but I think their attention gets focused on this as you see a large increase in the number of tablets that are sold, most of which are not using Intel chips, and an increasingly large number of smartphones, which are sometimes being used as replacements for PCs, again, often with non-Intel chips.
Will Dell come back in 2011?
No.
Dell table.
The Dell table system.
Those poor people are screaming.
Either that or the Intel table.
We're sorry too.
Dell in 2011.
Gets sold.
Gets sold to?
I don't know.
Oracle.
It's a very.
They need the whole vertical.
I bet.
Where is the next major growth sector for them? Where's the growth driver? You can point at other companies and they say this is an area they're growing. This market is growing.
It was an awesome supply chain while it lasted.
Yeah,
I think Dell is no longer relevant. I think Dell was, sorry, are they a sponsor?
No, no, they're not.
I predict most
I
of
didn't
They're an
think about
aluminum sponsor.
Dell was a company in the last wave of computing that made a business out of copying what other people did and then finding a way to build those things cheaper and more efficiently than everybody else, sourcing and bringing in parts and building a factory. And that was a great business. And if they can manage to do the same thing in this next wave, which is mobile computing, and find a way to clone the iPhone, a few years out. Dell never was an innovator. They were just a follow-on, and they were innovator in terms of building things. But I don't see right now how they're relevant at all, except as a licensee of Windows or of Android on the new platform. If they can find a way to make those phones a little cheaper and a little more efficiently than other people, they have a thing. But right now, I don't pay any attention at all to Dell. None, zero. They're not even on my radar.
Harsh, fake
I'm just
Steve.
saying, I don't pay any attention to them. When's the
Sounds
last time?
like real Steve.
Is there a Dell product in the last year that I don't even know what they made in the last year? Is there anything I should even care about?
The streak.
Adamo?
Oh, the streak.
Yeah.
Adamo by Dell? What else?
I think their bigger problem, though, is not that I expect them to innovate on products, but all those companies that are in that space are buying other people to get big, and they just got shut out of the most recent one. So, how do you, if anyone can outbid you for someone to help you get bigger, where do you go? You can't come up with a new product, a new
did
market.
like, however, how Dell managed to bid on 3PAR, lose, and come out $75 million ahead.
Yeah.
Do a few more of those.
Yeah,
You can really, you can
Yeah,
get big.
yeah.
You can get. I will have to throw this to Dell though. If all of these crazy acquisition valuations turn out to be a bridge too far for everybody else, they could end up ahead, being disciplined.
With
and
what?
efficient. Huh?
With what?
By just sitting
$75
there.
million.
It gets back to the question that Rachel said. Does anybody have a Dell product on their Christmas wish list this year? I mean, I don't. I
Michael
don't.
Dell,
All right,
I'm
I'm
sure.
Michael Dell has some.
I'm going to take the unpopular position in this panel and do one defense of Dell, and that is the best companies solve two problems. They solve a problem of technology and they solve a problem of distribution. I'm not going to say Dell solved a problem of technology, but they solved a problem of distribution. If they can figure out how to solve that problem of distribution in terms of mobile or the new classic computing devices, they'll be able, maybe not grow again, but at least they will be here for a good long while.
Really, I have to say, why
let
are
me
we
say
even
what
talking
is-
about Dell? Like, we've talked already about Dell, more than I've talked
No,
about
so
Dell in 2 years.
There's one, but the one thing that you can say for Dell, right, is they, to the extent that you see a recovery in enterprise computing spending, to the extent that you see a refresh cycle in PCs in the enterprise, they are very reliant. They're like 80% of their PC sales or something like that come from the enterprise. People spend more money on the enterprise. And Dell will do fine. Dell actually had a pretty good quarter in the last quarter, I think, right?
Yeah.
Was it 20% Dell people, something like that?
I think there's some trends that are really undermining that.
Right.
Turn up this woman's mic.
Please.
I think there's some trends that are undermining that. I mean, in the enterprise, there's a lot more selection. People, the refresh cycles are going longer. There's iPads in the enterprise. There's Macs are coming into the enterprise. There's a lot more selection than there used to be. It used to be Dell. Dell was it. And now there's a lot more choice. And I think CIOs are really thinking about what they're putting in.
All right.